People deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all doing well and safe. Good morning to those of you in the UK. As usual, I know I'm in the UK and I've got a lot of fans in here, but there's a lot of fans all over the world. So as usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on whoever you are and wherever you are. I hope you're all doing well and safe. Obviously, Wednesday, halfway period in the week. I hope you've all, crushing your goals and aspirations for this week so you can look back on Friday with a sense of accomplishment. People, I love the energy. 35 seconds in, there's 20 of you locked in. Please make sure you're correlating that to likes, people. Please, we need to convert that. Do what you can for the engagement. I apologize for being late, people. I've been up so long. I can't lie. I had to make a smoothie. That's why I was a minute or so late. I apologize, and I'm all over the place. You lot ain't even got your little banner and things. So what are you lot telling me? We've got a lot to speak about. Obviously, you've seen I've changed the title because this morning, courtesy of the Athletic, Mislintat's had some two bits and pieces to say. He's had two bits and pieces to say. I've done the loan report, which you lot will have out soon. I've done quite a bit of things for you guys this week today, people. So yeah, I know I do a lot of work with YouTube on YouTube, but I wish you lot could see that that's only the surface sort of thing, people, and there's a lot more to it. So I apologize for being 2 minutes late. We're gonna get into all of it. There's transfer talk. Socrates has had something to say. Bukayo Saka's got a new deal with New Era. There's a bag of things, and as usual, I'll be dealing with what you guys have to say. So yeah, please make sure you're hitting the like button. First things first, where is my manners, people? Because you lot are active from early. You lot are active. I see you lot doing what you need to do. There's 47 of you in here. There's 33 likes. So I appreciate that. What are you lot saying in the thingy? The hustle don't stop, my dude. We have to grind. Big up yourself, James. Mohammed's harsh. Man are saying deluded out. First time I'm late in how long? By a minute, a man are saying I'm out. Bloody hell, football fans. I know football's a quick turnaround, but come on, are we not remembering what I've done for the gang here? Crazy, man. This is why football managers shouldn't show clubs any loyalty. It's all banter, though. I hope you're all doing well and safe, man. Big up, Peter. Messages like this always gas me. Good morning, DG and chat. Thanks for providing us with another day of great content, bro. Work rate is a Mazzaline, like he said, we're talking today at 11:30. I'm gonna be on James Redmond's YouTube channel at 1-ish, so we can't be here too long. Obviously, Champions League business later, PSG versus Barcelona. Please make sure you're all there. And if not, make sure you're running up the likes. Do what you can for the engagement. I respect all of you lot. I appreciate all of you lot for being in here. Big up M as well. Like he said, hit the like button. Subway's just come to say people. Respect it nonetheless. Respect it either way. Big up yourself, Jay. JA as well. Mohammed ain't got much time for Mislintat. He's a dog. 6 of his signings he made are deadwood. We don't care about him. I don't share that opinion, but everybody's allowed one. Fair play. Get your opinions in on Mislintat. We obviously can't really get an opinion yet because I haven't spoken, but get what you need to do. Get it in, man. VAR, DG. You lot kill me, man. I appreciate that, man. Big up yourself. Man are tuned in at 8:30 a.m. I assume in Chile. If you're in the gym, I'm jealous, my dude, because there's no gyms out over here in the UK, my dude. We're not allowed to hit the gyms again, and it's stressing me out. Like I've bought a fucking, pardon my language, I've bought what's them? What do you call them things, people? The monkey bars you can dip and that, but it's not the same, man. River, I hope you're doing well and safe. Nikki is saying, Mislintat is a great spotter of talent. You don't get the name Diamond Eyes for no reason if you're not in that regards, man. Live from Planet X is saying, I'm about to go on a run. This landed in perfect time. Timing's everything. So happy to see I've provided some sort of quality. There's 84 of you locked in. Please make sure you're running up the likes. Moderators, please make sure you're banging on that drum. Let's get into it. Just as I was about to get into it, there's a super chat. Big up yourself for that $5. You've just paid for some Mackie D's there. Love for that, James. You said, big up DG. You, man, send a little something if you can. Pattern up the likes. Likes, of course. I don't know what Azumi is, but shout out to you, my guy, man. Shout out to you. Shout out all the chat, and thank you very much for that. Take it in, man. Take it in. Big up you lot. I hope you're well and safe, man. I hope you're doing well and safe. I'm a big fan of Guendouzi, but myth, man. Myth. Man said head to Pim's Park for a free gym session. Are you mad? Funny enough, that's where I actually learned how to kick a football and ride a bike, is Pim's Park. Fair play. Yeah, man. Let's get into it, people. Let's get into it. 5 minutes in now, it's nice that everyone's been greeted, but I think I've given everybody enough time to relax now, and so we can get into this, people. So yeah, I've made my timestamp. Let me share my screen with you. It's time to get into this serious business. Let's go. Let me make this a bit bigger. First things first, people. Courtesy of the Athletic. Fundamentally, there, Mislintat said I would have kept Guendouzi. So I've gone through the article and I've trimmed it down and gone through what I think is the relevant bits and the need to know bits. Everything else is wishy-washy, in my opinion, and stuff as Arsenal fans we already know about how he got started, about how he left Arsenal, and the rest of it, people. Let's go, man. So yeah, getting into it. We got a super chat as well. James, man, keep your money in your pocket, my guy. Love for that, but keep your peas in your pocket, man. Love for that, my guy, man. I might get KFC now. I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. Hope you're enjoying your morning, but keep your money in your pocket, my GG. I appreciate that nonetheless, though. But getting back onto the task at hand, the first thing I want to raise of you lot is, three managers have, Guendouzi is one of those players there where, let's be honest, he is young, he is naive, he has reflected a lot of that and showed his immaturity in that regards, people. But at the same time, you either love or you hate him. I do think there's mentality there. It just needs to be honed and molded, and not just for Arsenal, for anywhere, because he man have said it about him at Lorient. People have said it with now at Hertha Berlin. Obviously, we've seen what's happened with Mikel Arteta. So he needs to rein it in a bit and have a bit more humility. I hope that happens with being a dad, being out of the scene in that regards and whatnot. Truthfully, I don't know. But as you lot can see here, first things first, people, the new coach, Dardai, hasn't really been playing him. And as you know, he's been criticised for adolescent football. He said, this is Mislintat now, he said, well, the interviewer said, there's also another of your Arsenal signings in the Bundesliga, Guendouzi. He was recently criticised for playing adolescent football by the coach Paul Dardai, to which Mislintat said, I disagree with Paul. If you're not playing Guendouzi, Matteo better yet in midfield, it must be a very strong midfield. Matteo has the personality needed to demand every ball in tight situations and has great vision to play vertical and every other angle. That's his real strength. As a teenager from League Two, he played 48 games for Arsenal in his first year. I assure you, you are not able to survive that amount of Premier League football playing adolescent football. So I'm not saying Dardai is wrong, but I mean, at the same time, that's levels, that's what I'm saying. I do think people overrate Guendouzi to a degree, but I do think there's no middle ground. There's some man that rate him ridiculously. There's some man that don't rate him. I think there's a player there. It's either going to be at Arsenal or elsewhere. When the penny drops, I think he could be a good player. If not, what could happen is he's reminding me a bit of Ben Arthur, Adel Tarat, and people of that ilk, in that I definitely don't feel he's got the quite the potential that them man there had, but in that they've got potential to play for a top team, to play at a top division, yeah. But you need to rein it in, or you're going to do this thing where you might be at Hertha, you might come back at Arsenal, you might go to this team in Spain, this team in France, you'll be a floater and you won't get your potential. There's something there. He's been called up for France. He's played 48 times. Love him or hate him, I like him for the mentality. Like I said, he's born a day after me. So he's got that, not that I'm one of these star sign people and it jars me when girls talk about that as well, but he's an Aries. I see the fire in him. I see it. He just needs to control it. He just needs to control himself. You could see he went on to say he's a young centre midfielder in that position. Players reach their peak at 27, 28. He obviously doesn't get everything right, but he plays with decisiveness and quality that makes him an extraordinary player. Dardai criticised him for losing the ball in the box against RB Leipzig, which is facts. You know when to lose it. Guendouzi's done a couple of them at Arsenal, but which I also believe Mislintat is right. He said, but we want players who are brave on the ball, who can move past the pressure. Losing the odd ball is part of that. That is true. If it happens, you have to ask for the next ball. And that is what Matteo did. And I love to see it. You shouldn't try to change his game, but work on the details to improve him. If you're able to do that, you can make him a monster midfielder. Facts, Mislintat. Facts. But again, I do understand if Arteta ain't got time for it, because there's a bag of things wrong with Arsenal. Listen, my thing is Guendouzi comes next season, says sorry, plays next season. But I understand if we say, do you know what? He might become a 30, 40 plus million pound player one day. We might sit here and say, what happened? Why isn't he at Arsenal and the rest of it? But I just think they're saying, do you know what? We signed him for 7 or 8 million. If we can sell him for 20, put a little sell-on clause, it is what it is. We've made a profit, it can be reinvested. We go and pattern off other areas of the team. We've got one less headache, you know, which he probably couldn't. As you know, there's a bag of things, as much whether you rate or not rate Arteta, there's a bag of things to deal with at Arsenal. Much less is Guendouzi going to behave himself. You know, I think there's too many of these storylines, so we need to cut man loose. So I want Guendouzi to stay, but if there's still loggerheads, I understand it. It's a bit like Torreira. If Torreira's heart's not in this, he would play for me, but your heart's not in it. You need to keep it moving. And that goes for anybody that isn't committed to this thing. You know, I'd rather give Guendouzi a try than some of the midfielders getting opportunities, and I just think it's happened, innit? Mislintat has defended his record at Arsenal in relation to transfers, and he said the club shouldn't have allowed Guendouzi to leave on loan. I respect Mikel a lot. I'd love to talk to him one day to understand his reasons for sending Matteo as well as Lucas on loan and tell him my view in relation to their qualities. If you're not playing Matteo in midfield, it must be a very strong midfield, and that's true. I mean, probably a bit rich and selling Guendouzi a bit high there, but it's true. You know, there's no logical reason. I think you can chat to Partey. You know, I understand why Xhaka's there, but I'd rather play Guendouzi and give Guendouzi that time ahead of Xhaka, with all due respect, definitely ahead of El Nene. If I was Mislintat, year left on his contract, playing in Bundesliga, you was central to him joining Arsenal. I can't lie, I'd put in a cheeky offer to Arsenal and say, yo, listen, let us have him on a cheap, and then go and make a little profit, sort of thing. Hammer, I think you're lying there, my guy. I see what you're saying, but I can't remember the specific game, but similar to the mistake he made against Hertha Berlin, sorry, he has lost it on the edge of his area at Arsenal. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Moving away from that, like he said, it has to be a good midfield. Like I said, it's not going to make sense because I've copied and pasted on a bit of a random one here, people. He was then asked, looking back at his signings, basically, does he feel it was a mistake to focus on players he knew from his time at Dortmund, and it could have came across as a little bit uninspired? I'd say yes and no. You use what you could for Aubameyang. When you bring in Socrates, you get what you pay for in them sort of things there. He said, you know, in brackets, like they say about him, he only knows Dortmund players. That was the take. And I know, but that can't influence your decisions. You have to free yourself from the opinions and politics as best as possible and be convinced that you're doing the right thing. You can get it wrong, and that's true, but those have to be honest mistakes, not mistakes you make because you felt like you needed to make certain moves for appearances. And that's it. If you're going to make mistakes bringing in the wrong players, let it be because of that. Don't let it be because you've got that monkey in your back. Don't bring in ex players because they're going to say this about me. And that's true. You know, you've got to have that headspace and clarity of cutting away the noise and trying to get in the best players. Moving forward, people, he said, let's start with Aubameyang, Arsenal's captain. No need to talk about it. His statistics, apologies, since he joined the Premier League stands for itself. He's still got the most goals and assists in a team that scores fewer goals than the other top teams. He was massively important for Arsenal's FA Cup win with his quality and goals. And let's be honest, Aubameyang, has been a quality signing. For me, I'm not going to lie, Mislintat, you know, I don't think it was directly your fault for Mkhitaryan. I think the board looked at it as, let's get one player out, one player in. We're getting man on a free. I think to a degree, Wenger was all for it as well. And I think obviously you having the Dortmund things highlighted, I personally think that's a correlation of people making bad decisions. We all, not to go over the same thing and reopen X wounds, people, make sure you're hitting the like button. But we all remember, you know, you didn't want to let Alexis go for 60 odd million to City, and then you let man go for free. Probably let 100 million, him and Ramsey, whatever you rate on them, leave for free out of this football club. You know, we're lucky Alexis and Mkhitaryan, they didn't bang at their respective clubs. You know, the most expensive free transfer in Premier League history, in my opinion. But it is what it is. And he's going to say a swap deal with Alexis Sanchez, a player that would hold no residual value for a club a few days later. Mickey was more than a good deal for the squad and for the accounts. On top of it, you gain a player who speaks 7 languages and connects with everyone in the dressing room. That is true. He obviously had his ex-Dortmund man. He was relatively experienced, and from people I speak to, he was a very liked man. You know, and Mkhitaryan was very much a people's man. You listen to people at the Emirates, he would always buy not just the players, but everybody around and the kitchen staff. He would be out there and getting everyone Christmas presents and all of these sort of things. But it's all about correlating to the football field. And Mkhitaryan was inconsistent to begin with. We all knew what we was going to get, and it was another expensive free transfer. And then you had to tear up a man's contract. So it speaks for itself. Going on to say he leads by example. It went on to say, yeah, he connects with everyone in the dressing room, important in that moment. He's a top pro and an outstanding person. All that's true, but I just want to hear he's a good footballer. He leads by example, worked really hard. He led players like Matteo to be fair, he was a good influence on Matteo. You could, people did say he was telling Matteo, listen, you could be a real baller if you take me in and what I'm saying. But he went on to say, people underestimate him. I will never do that. I'm happy for him that he showed up again at Roma. He's doing his thing at Roma, and sometimes it's just not a good fit, which for us, it wasn't. For Socrates, he was there to add something to the group, that kind of aggression, his winning mentality, getting your teeth into the game, winning without playing beautiful. Not to forget, he was a perfect mentor for Mavropanos. I get it, on face value, I don't think we got justification for Socrates. I don't think he's as bad as people made out. I actually think he had good patches of form, but, it wasn't consistent. He wasn't a fit in terms of ball playing centre halves. He played more than we probably should have. But I get all of that logic. But, if we just to look at it on a basic thing, Socrates, a good or bad signing for Arsenal, on a cash thing like that, not levels. You look at Mkhitaryan, not levels. You look at who's the other one? Lichtsteiner, not levels. You look at Aubameyang, levels. You look at Torreira, levels. You look at Guendouzi, levels. Guendouzi and Torreira, it's not worked out for them at Arsenal, not because they're not good footballers. It's external things and things that, well, in Guendouzi's case, started off on the football field and then carried it on, and then carried it on. And then obviously there's plenty of other examples. And he went on to say, from my point of view, Socrates and Koscielny complemented each other well. They were, they're both fairly aggressive, they're both experienced, but you get what you pay for. It's not your fault, but we over-relied on the Koscielny. We tried to be smart and save a bit of bob with Socrates, which makes sense, but you get what you pay for, because we're still talking about centre-halves to this day. That just not just on Socrates, that highlights what we're doing as a football club. He already said, he went on to say, and also you got to remember at the time period, he said Callum Chambers already is a successor and challenges in a place, and a short list of exciting youngsters to buy, including Saliba for a reasonable amount of money, and he's named dropped a couple of other players. He said Socrates, Koscielny, Petr Cech and Ramsey, complemented by the Swiss man Lichtsteiner and Granit Xhaka. This group were ready to push the dressing room more towards a high performance mentality. The idea was to have seasoned pros to maintain that hunger. And I get it. You tried the little, what Arsenal are lacking in that for these young players, or people don't get it. You don't see a single pillar at Arsenal and say, they understand it. They get it. They know what we want to do. I see it with Saka. I see it with Tierney. I see it with a couple other men. So I get it at that time. Cech's CV speaks for itself. Socrates experience, Cech experience. But this is the problem. The whole club across all facets needs to improve. We have to inspire people to want to make that change for itself. Let's put your minds back to school. Just because one of your man them was serious and well behaved, it don't mean you're doing the same. These men are not, there's not, these players are experienced players, but they're no one's dad, so it was never going to bang. I get it. The logic makes sense, and I'm sure Petr Cech, Lichtsteiner, Ramsey, who's relevant to it, Cech, I'm sure they've all rubbed off on a footballing sense, pause, on the young players and stuff, but just in terms of that, correlating that to not conceding dumb goals, seeing out games and stuff, man, never saw that. He also said Petr Cech and Stefan were particularly important in setting an example of leadership for young professionals and academy players. Obviously, he's named the young players. All of them were introduced into the professional environment at the time. Would you concede that Lichtsteiner was not a success? I would say it was crap, but Cech and Lichtsteiner are prototypes of winners. They improve your whole team with their mindsets just being in the dressing room. That's facts. But we were taking them to a level of beyond being voices in the dressing room and playing you week in, week out. He said that's why we added Stefan. He played 23 games in all comps. He was meant as a backup and came on a free. Technically, he's one of the best fullbacks ever. He's had a good career, steam career, but you get what you pay for. It's another expensive free transfer. I can't even lie. I completely forgot Donny even played for us, people. Moving away from that, in Sead Kolasinac, Hector Bellerin and Maitland-Niles, we had 3 fullbacks who have their strengths going forward. We wanted to provide them with someone who had a strong defensive mentality, who could be a proxy for Unai on the field. So he was a somewhat lieutenant, a coach, similar to what you see with Joe Hart at Spurs at this moment in time, to help others improve their defensive moment and be a pain in the arse, pause, for anyone doing things half-heartedly. He did that perfectly. And that's true, but everyone should want to be a pain in the arse for each other, I go back to the Invincibles. For obvious reasons, we're not levels, but Sol Campbell was a pain. Lehman was a pain. Vieira was a pain. Henry was a pain. So when everybody's of that mindset and holding themselves to the same high accounts that they're holding their teammates, it all knocks into place. For me, all I'm getting is I see the logic, but we were just trying to do this supply teacher thing, this lieutenant thing, and it's not gonna bang. It was never gonna bang. He said, to be quite clear, I don't feel ashamed of any of those transfers. To be fair, things happen in it. You know, you get things wrong. The Lichtsteiner thing, it didn't bang. You know, it is what it is. You did have some other, I would say, Guendouzi and Torreira successes because it hasn't worked out purely for footballing point of views. Like on footballing ability, Torreira walks in our lineup. Guendouzi should be a player, but it is what it is. He said, to be quite clear, though, I don't feel ashamed of any of those transfers. On the contrary, I'll always defend these guys, not because they were my players, but because they were Arsenal players and capable ones. They turned up. The team went unbeaten in 22 games in all comps, made it to the Europa League final, and finished fifth with 70 points. Bro, I'm not going to lie to you. I can't disagree with that. That's all facts. You can't take that away. But I would say the devil's in the detail. Yeah, we finished fifth and it looked glossy. But what happened in the micro of them last 8 games and the theme of us dropping points all season, even among those 22 unbeaten runs, where I used to get a lot of stick on my channel where I used to say, I give Emre a 5 out of 10. And I said, I'm not happy that we're consistently having to chase the game and turn it around. Man are saying we're a second half team. If you're a second half team, you're not doing something in the first half, and it's unhealthy to go into that. I started saying that after the Cardiff game. Remember, we turned it around and Aubameyang and Laka scored. I said to myself, "Yo, it's absolutely nonsense." So I do see where you're going with, but I do think that's rose tints, and this is a thing with Arsenal. I don't think when you look at things like that, you don't look at things with balance, man. Raw, wait, hold on. I didn't say I don't like people sending me peas. What's going on? I never said that. I was just seeing my man doing bare in it. So I was saying, chill, my brother. Who doesn't? You know, everything gets reinvested back into DG, and you're seeing the progress. So anyone that departs with their hard-earned money, I applaud them and I really respect it. But just to have you lot here means a lot. But moving forward, he said, you know, and it is true, we did make it into that. And Lord knows, I'll give anything to finish fifth with 70 points in Europa League final and 22 games unbeaten at a point. I'd give anything to do that right now. He said, but many teams would love to finish fifth now. I felt that we were on the right track and I would have enjoyed the opportunity to develop further at Arsenal. Anyway, I don't look back. I learned massively. I loved my days at the club, in the Premier League and in London. And my problem is just nothing to do. Listen, Mislintat's gone now, innit, people? But my thing is, you know, let's make sure the next thing we do, we're doing it for a prolonged period of time. You know, we done the Mislintat thing. It didn't bang. The whole trying to be like Dortmund. We tried to do the Raul Sanye, the experience thing. Truthfully, I don't know what Edu is doing, but we're doing the Edu thing. I don't want to see in the next 18 months we're trying a new thing because it seems like we're in love with cycles at this club and never, in fact, better yet, projects and never finishing the projects. It's dead, really and truly. He also said, what made the interest of Arsenal special? And you know me, I'm a big Arsene Wenger fan. I'm always going to use this as an opportunity to spread Arsene Wenger propaganda, people. He said, getting approached by Arsene Wenger was a huge honor and accolade for me. Arsenal had been the benchmark. My personal blueprint when I started at Dortmund, they were a role model in 2006, playing one-touch football with young players unearthed in France and everywhere. They developed them and sold them on for good money. They weren't yet playing the Barcelona-inspired football. It was fast, vertical, quick transitions, exactly the kind of football that fits Dortmund at its best, with I can't never say that word, but yeah, man, with a clear recruitment strategy, people. Arsene Wenger had made an art form out of doing a lot with comparatively very little. That's precisely the path we followed, and it is still the approach I follow here at Stuttgart. Mislintat, I like your player, Silas Wan-Matuka. I saw him at Paris FC. I still think he's a bit raw. I think that's a player that I want to see, people. I'm keen to see how he develops. You know, Stuttgart got a couple of little players here and there. So, Mislintat, you're speaking highly of Arsenal. Scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. Pause. You get it. So yeah, man. He said, you know, he drew inspiration from Arsene Wenger, and I'm not going to read the rest of this last paragraph, but I did think in life, this is a very good quote. He said, "The best ideas are often born in the hour of need," and that's what happened. I feel a lot of that with my YouTube channel. He said, "Thanks to some good decisions and having Jurgen Klopp as manager, Dortmund won trophies again and became efficient." I was lucky to be part of that amazing project and with a good group of people. So yeah, he said, "Why did you leave in the end?" Obviously about Arsenal. He said, "I joined Arsenal to work with Arsene Wenger and to prove myself in the best competitions, the Premier League. My path was to," we all know he left because he couldn't get that job. We all know that. Sorry, people, smoothie. He said, My plan was to learn from one of the best managers in football history, support and challenge him to win as many games as possible. And the day he would stop his career as manager, maybe watch him change the board level to preserve the values and philosophy of Arsenal and his work, ambition, and legacy. Hey, man, I'm loving this. Arsene left after the end of the season, of course, and a few months later, as you lot know, Ivan Gazidis left to become the CEO at Milan. At that point, Arsenal restructured its leadership. I applied for the newly created technical director role. Raul Sanye and Vinay, who Vinay has now been elected to some board in to do with Europe, and Sanye is obviously left, who succeeded Ivan in a co-leadership role at Arsenal, decided to go for someone else. We then agreed in a very respectful way that I would leave all entirely applicable. Originally, my idea was to take a break for a few months to learn another language, to improve my poor surfing level, and exchange ideas with some of the fascinating characters in sport and business, to swap ideas and generally learn and improve. But one of the first calls was by Wolfgang Dierich, president of Stuttgart. Those days, I felt immediately on fire for Stuttgart's project. Now, another interesting bit for me personally, people. I spoke about this in my loan report, which will be out later today. Sorry, I'm live right now, so I need to obviously make sure it's uploaded and do all those little things for you guys. But he said, on the new signings, Konstantinos Mavropanos, whom you first signed at Arsenal, how is he getting on? And I said this in the last one, but this is what you want to hear. And he's barely completed 90 minutes, Mavropanos. He's played a lot of 80s, but he's not played a lot of 90s. In fact, the last game he played 60 odd, so he's still recovering. You know, he's proven he can be fit. He's made 13, 14 appearances, but we need to know the durability of the man. And I think he's going to return to Arsenal, whatever you say, with an enhanced reputation, and we've got a decision to make, people. Do we loan him out again? Do we make a profit? Do we at least give him pre-season to kind of show that he can convince Arteta that he can be a part of it, or whatever? Either way, we should either be getting a decent squad player, Mavropanos, or a decent money for him so that it can be reinvested and stuff, because we want another centre-half. But on Mavropanos, he said he has all the hardware and all the software to be a great defender. He has been unfortunate. He's got a lot of injuries. A pubic bone inflammation kept him out more or less for 1.5 years. The moment we thought we could play him, he tore his meniscus. It's important for us to get him fully match fit. If he can stabilize physically, he's undoubtedly a Bundesliga defender. He's one of the fastest centre-backs in the league. He is, and he's got, you know, good metrics defending, good aerial defensive metrics in the Bundesliga, and a couple of other defensive statistics to match it up. He is a super guy. He is a model professional. What I like about Mavropanos, I don't really see too many defenders in the current day. You know, they can all ball play and that, but I don't really see defenders that love defending. I get it with Mavropanos. When he concedes, you can see him kind of swearing and things like that. You know, it genuinely pains him, and I like that. I think we need somebody like that. And for Mavropanos, I don't know if he'll get an opportunity here. You know, one has to wonder what's going to happen, because you could have Mavropanos, Saliba, and Gabriel. They're all at similar stages in their development, which is a good thing. But if we can factor in the reality of challenging for Champions League places or whatever that Arsenal's expected to do, is it naive, or is it sensible to think that Arteta's going to throw his hand on those 3 centre-halves, or is it going to be 2 of the 3? I'm not too sure. But either way, it's high praise from him. And he said you have to admire his energy, all the strength it took to get over his injuries. We're super happy that he's been a regular in recent weeks. We'd like to keep him on loan one more season if possible, but that will be down to Arsenal. So what does that tell you there? I've told you we want to keep him for another year, which I wouldn't be against, people. He's learning. Again, it all depends what we're doing. And this is also another thing I liked from Mislintat. He said things become problematic when nobody's asking any uncomfortable questions. That is something for life, people. And that is something where I think they had a problem at Arsenal, because again, the restructuring is the restructuring, but it seems like obviously they don't agree, but it just seems like I can see Vinay, Edu, and Arteta all agreeing. They're probably not, but Mislintat seems like someone that's going to let his nuts hang, someone that's going to say, yo, I don't believe this, and he will die on his sword, rightly or wrongly, and that. And I think, you know, that's the sort of characters we need, not even just Mislintat, somebody like that. And that's probably why he's gone on top of the obvious people. My big thing is, once again, let's see through the project, because you've done the Mislintat thing. You've done the Raul Sanye thing. I don't know what this current Edu project is, you know, but we're doing it. I want to see some fruits of the labor. Man, don't want to sit here and say, where is it? Because we love an unfinished project. We've done it with the youth play. We're currently doing it with a couple of youth players right now, in my opinion. We've done it with like the Ox and these sort of guys when they were young. You know, we've tried the experience thing. We were told that, you know, we was told that project of we're coming out of financial problems, and we signed Santi, Ozu and Alexis 3 years on the bat. You know, we love an unfinished project, people. So, and we've got a lot to do in the squad. So only God knows what is going to happen. But that's that in relation to him. But I'll leave you with this, as I said at the start. Mislintat said I would have kept Guendouzi at Arsenal. I would have as well. But I've got no allegiances to Guendouzi like that. In that, you know, he's not a world-class player. You've pissed off the manager. You have to come out. You know, it is what it is, people. But my thing is, whether you're going to sell Xhaka, Guendouzi, El Nene, Bellerin, whoever, make sure you're getting decent money for these players. You know, make sure you're getting decent money for these players. But that's all I've got to say in that regards, people. What are you guys saying? Because I've seen you lot been going crazy in the chat and stuff. I see TB just, I don't know who he's arguing with, but you're onto someone. Nonetheless, it is cool. 118 likes, people. Keep running up them ones. Keep running up the numbers, people. I think there was another super chat. Let me see if it's the case. I see we've got another member. Big up yourself, CM James Brown. Love for that. You've said, how can I pick up a 3.5 but not show support? Last one, hold it. Big up your thing, man. Again, grab that Zinger Mill, Aki. Love for that, my guy. I don't know what a 3.5 is. I just see hella decimal numbers, but I'd assume it must be something really decent if you'd rather not pick that up. So I appreciate that. You know, have a 3.5 on me, whatever that is, brother. But yeah, man, you're right. Xhaka's not going nowhere. The thing with it, though, is Xhaka has 2 years left on his deal. If we're to believe what man is telling us at face value, decisions need to be made. And at the age Xhaka is, you know, if I'm Xhaka, if I'm playing all this time under my manager, I want to know where I stand. I've seen Saka and Aubameyang giving new deals. You're always playing me. Where do I stand? And for Arsenal, I genuinely believe the moment, you know, the more you stay with somebody like Xhaka, I see why he plays. I don't think he's as bad as people make out. But when you're relying on Xhaka to dictate the tempo of your game, to start progressive moves, and he has the, for all that he might have pros, there's a lot of cons and a lot of problems that have been there with him. I think you're going to be in problems. You're always going to be in problems when you've got midfielders that don't release the ball. And we're in trouble. We are in trouble. You can't sell Ceballos. Ceballos is going to go back. And we're in trouble because the only midfielder you could say there's no speculation over his future is Partey. And if we take this season at face value, we can't rely on Partey because of the injury status. I think you can, but you get it. So again, and I'm not going to lie to you, on current form, yeah, if Ceballos is going for 20 million, I hear the logic. It is a decent deal, but just based on what I've seen at Arsenal, I wouldn't depart with that. I'd rather take that 20 million and put it towards whatever money I have allocated for another midfielder. We need quality, not quantity. Saying that, we need quality. Xhaka does get a lot of hate, but I do think, you know, there's no balance. I think he's a decent player, but he's not levels for what we need. You know, Xhaka is allowed to go. Again, it's like what TB said, you know, unless we're bringing man into this club, it's a myth. And that's one thing you've got. One thing, as much as I don't believe it, I'll give Xhaka that. There's got to be a reason Arteta, Arsene Wenger and Emre all played Xhaka. Maybe that's why we've been failing, but there's got to be a reason, you know. We're not going to be able to get all the players in and out of this club, but you look at our midfield, Xhaka, there's speculation. Partey based on not being fit, but let's exclude Partey. El Nene, Xhaka, Torreira, Joe Willock, Guendouzi, Maitland-Niles, Ceballos. Brother, that's too much uncertainty, really and truly. Thomas, that doesn't make sense, my guy. That doesn't. And you know, I blame everybody same way I praise everybody. It's as simple as that. You know, I don't understand. You can't blame players who aren't on the pitch. You can only critique players that are playing. You know, Bellerin did not play against Burnley, so you can't mention him. Thomas, that ain't making much sense, my guy. You know, you praise and critique fairly. The problem with football fans, there's too much agendas. Some man just hate Xhaka, so when he plays well, they can't fathom that. Some man love Xhaka too much, so when he's made a glaring, obvious mistake, they won't hold that. I'm just committed to my football club, you know. Xhaka should become a squad player. That's about it. You do up your Europa League, you know, all of those sort of things. I don't think you should be playing week in, week out. And for Mikel Arteta, he's going to learn that lesson harsh. Now, I don't know if he's using Xhaka because he can't get anybody in, but I'll have to say, you did say You know, you pulled Xhaka back in from the wind when it was looking like he's gone. You did have a summer to bring someone in or do something in the same way you made it clear you're not using Torreira and Guendouzi. You made clear Xhaka's you're done. So to a degree, he has to hold his hands up. He has to hold his hands up. And the thing is, I don't mind Xhaka having a big ego. I like Xhaka's ego. I like it. He's humble to me. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I like his ego. That's one thing I like about Xhaka. He doesn't take stuff. Even when he's swearing at fans. You know, do I like that he's swearing at fans? Do I like that fans are swearing at him? Of course not. But I like that man are not pussycats in this thing. You know, he's on this. That's one thing I give him, but it's not levels. Our board will not buy 2 midfielders, and that's why we're gonna be a mess, my guy. Big up everybody in the chat, man. Come on. Em is saying there's 250 or there's only 127 likes. Please get them up, people. Please get the likes up. You lot are doing the guy dirty. Xhaka isn't better than Ceballos. They're all the same, man. They're all 3 games. They'll look like players. 4th game, they look a bit shaky. Yeah, man. The Xhaka, everyone at this, you know, I'm done with it. I just want street smart midfielders now. I'm done with are these players going to turn it around and stuff. Some man have been here for time. And what I will say about Xhaka, I wouldn't say I'm defending him, but I'm not overly getting at him. If you've been here for 3-4 years and you slap 10 Arsenal fans in a room, 2 are saying you're good, 2 are saying you can't play Premier League football, couple are saying but this, but that, but he can do this and not that. I think that answers the question really and truly. You know, it is what it is, man. They're all, and when you've got a bunch of players that are like this, it's crazy, man. And this is it. This is all I believe, Liam, and this is all I try to praise. If Xhaka's played well, praise him. If he's played bad, same energy. The problem comes between in football now, man just want to be right for the sake of being right. You know, if I say Xhaka isn't good enough, and he, you know, for me, I don't think Xhaka is levels for Arsenal. But if he shows it, I'll be the first to applaud him. Some man want to be right more than they want their team to be a success. So it is what it is in that regards, man. They have come out with new streetwear. I can't lie, they might have to take my money because it looks certified. Bro, that's the thing. They're all too inconsistent. For me with Xhaka, simply put, the cons are not outweighed by the pros. I mean, the pros are not outweighed by the cons to having Xhaka in the team. Like if Xhaka could create great goals, does things in less touches, you know, was a midfield general of sorts, then I would take all the mistakes he comes with. But it isn't that, you know, with Xhaka, I do think people have their knives and that out for when he does make that mistake, they're ready to just stab him up like they've done against Burnley and Leicester. But you know it's coming. Like a lot of these players, you know they're going to be 30 for 3-4 games. When it's crunch time, they're not. And then it's the cycle again. I always say there's 38 games. The players that stand up to be counted are the ones I can rely on. I don't care for players that are good for 10 games, this game, that game, because that's what Arsenal are. Even when we've been catching L's, we'll win an FA Cup. This season, there's been some positives. You know, we've been winning away from home. We've beat Leicester. We've taken 4 points off United. We beat Chelsea. We'll get these little positive moments, but that's winning battles. We're not winning the wars. Do you get it? That's why we're here. It's as simple as that, man. And that's why my expectations of this football club are on the floor, because it's a madness. And this is it. People just want retweets. Everybody wants to mock the brother for having an opinion and it got wrong. Everybody wants to be right. It's crazy, man. It's absolute crazy. Big up Dermot, bro. Beer goggles and rose tints, man. People have loyalties to the players. We live in a weird society now, man. You know, we live in a weird society. And this is it, Peter, you know. As long that's what you can say, you know. As long as you can praise a man if they play well, it is what it is. And if you ain't seen it for a proper time, a proper sort of period of time, you can't be bedding them. It's as simple as that. You know, I think I'll be the first to praise Bellerin when he has a good game. I don't actually like Bellerin. Bellerin's, you know, he's come from the academy via Barcelona. I like him, but I don't think he's levels. So every time he has a good game, I applaud it. But he's not levels, man. And this is it, fam. 2 steps forward. He isn't, you know, I wouldn't say he isn't terrible, but he's just not levels. It's simple as that. He's just not levels, man. It's not even that. It's got nothing to do with him being left foot or right foot. He's just too naive on the football. He's too easy to press. He's got too much mistakes. It's nothing like that, man. It's nothing to do with that. People do live in echo chambers, my dude, 100%. Theo, YouTube does the team dirty time and time again, but we're still out here. We're still progressing. They can't stop greatness in it. We keep moving. Please make sure you hit the like button. Let's be serious, Sky. I'm not saying you, but that's one thing that's been annoying me with football fans when they're like, since we signed Xhaka, we're not in the Champions League. For one hand, I do think there's no coincidence with that. That kind of shows how much we've been going backwards. But we're not in the top four. We're not in the Champions League purely because of Xhaka. You know, there's 38 foot. Last time I checked, there's 38 Premier League games and there's 11 players that go on a football field and there's a 25-man squad. You cannot blame Xhaka for everything. That's what I believe. I know you're not, but I just find it stupid. You know, it would be nice though if Xhaka left and we did get in the Champions League and things like that. It'd be fairly decent, people. Should we get into some other sort of news, people? Let's quickly swap the screen. In fact, just before that, let's go back to this. And where did we have that? Let's just say at 40 minutes. Saka. So yeah, people, let's get into this Saka stuff. Like I said, there's a couple things we got to get through. Big up Bukayo Saka. And before I carry on, you know, these pictures were taken by his brother. I respect that from Saka because he's trying to make everybody eat. You know, obviously he's going to help his family out. I'm sure he's invested in his family, in some businesses for his family and making sure everyone gets out the mud. But it's nice to see that this 19-year-old, you know, has used it as an opportunity to let his brother pursue his dreams, I assume, of taking pictures. And who knows, New Balance might hire him to do other things with other clients. And obviously Saka's earned a lot of money from Arsenal. He could put a little business together for his brother, you know, get a little stake. It's not going to give you football money, but these are little things that can keep you ticking over. And, you know, Saka, it comes from a very good family. I'm pretty sure, you know, his finances are calm. I'm pretty sure he's got his head screwed on, but it's lovely to see. You know, obviously he's been wearing up the Adidas boots and at a time Nike, but he signed a multi-year deal with New Balance. And like I said, it must be for a decent bit of money because, you know, England international and them things there. I'm in love with this. I love to see the star boys in that. I love to see it, man. You know, everybody, oh, he's making peas. He's making peas. Hopefully the boots look nice because I'm not going to lie, Saka, some of the New Balance boots look dead. As long as it doesn't affect your footballing, I don't care. But I'm happy to see this, man. He deserves it. 74. It's been what a revelation, bro. The man's only made 74 appearances for Arsenal. It feels like the man has even played 10. Like Saka's been in here for it feels like he's played 1,000 games for Arsenal, but it also feels like he's only been in the first team 2 minutes. And that shows the greatness. There's going to become tough times in his career. You know, there's going to be tough times in his career. I'm not saying he hasn't gone through adversity, but right now we're all wowed by Saka. Saka can do no wrong. Sometimes he's missing goals he should be scoring. Sometimes the energy is going to be a bit different. You know, people are going to get onto him. It's a bit like Martinelli. It's a bit like Trent, you know, at was one point, and Rashford, everybody loved them, and Mbappe as well. Everybody loves them. Everybody just bum sucks everything they do, really. They can't do anything wrong. They could tell you the sky's purple. They'll believe it. And then that energy switches. There'll be a time. Saka's already becoming a marked man. How many guys are tight to him? He's getting kicked every day. People are not picking up on this. Even from last season, did Trent not do a nasty tackle on him? So he's developing. But it's nice to see the man's getting his money, you know. Saka's one of these players for me anyways, being from inner city London. You know, I don't know him personally, but I'm happy to see this because it feels like I'm living my dreams through him, really and truly. So yeah, man, Saka, when you do well on the football field, everything takes care of itself. Getting called up for England, getting money, you know, new deals, all of these things happen when you just do the business on the field. As you lot know, there's always one, brother. There's always one. Of course, Saka is. There's just because you know, being humble doesn't mean being an idiot. You know, let's be real. You know, of course he knows. Of course he knows. But again, you need to be. That's where it is. You need to be humble. He's not an idiot. He knows he's playing well. You know, it is what it is. But shout out to Saka for getting the New Balance. Shout out to him for busting his brother as well, as you see here, people. You know, shout out to him because he didn't have to do this. Look, this is all taken by his brother, apparently. You know, shout out to him. You know, bringing the man them true. This is it. You know, he could have taken it with one of their professional guys and whatnot, but he didn't. People would have loved to have seen him get Nike and them thing there, but it is what it is. I think he's the next one to join after Mane and whatnot. People. So yeah, look, yeah, as I said, he's joined after Mane. He's joined the brand again. You know, So it seems like New Balance are recruiting hella people. So big up to young Bukayo Saka. And like I said, when you do the business on the football field, everything else takes care of itself. And he's completed a hat-trick of Player of the Month awards, as you lot can see, people. He's been playing quite well, scoring goals, making a difference. Even when Saka is playing bad, like by his own standards, it's still better than bare man, and it's making the difference. And it's quite it's applaudable for what Saka's doing. It's disgraceful that we've had to over rely on this 19-year-old. You know, it hasn't been a case where we've got other players that are doing the Saka sort of things and he's able to chip in. No, he's holding the hands of several more experienced players, not just him, but a couple of people. As you lot know, he did his thing in the Europa, you know, our star boy, our little Chile. I'm not going to go over it all again, you know. It's boring talking about Saka doing dirt on the football field. You know what he's on. He deserves it. You know, it's a bit like Gabriel. Everybody's forgetting my brother Gabriel, you know, how he was winning all of these things. So shout out to Saka for doing that. It takes care of itself. He got 48% of the votes. Aubameyang was third, and Xhaka has been doing quite well this season. He did well against Leicester after that mistake, but fundamentally, mistake and Xhaka are things that are going to stay together. For what it's worth, Pepe got goal of the month. Who did he get? I don't even know who he scored against, the Wolves. I can't lie, people. I can remember Kieran Tierney's one against Benfica. I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched Katie McCabe's goal, and I can't remember Pepe's one against Wolves. I can't remember. I have to go watch. I'm gonna go watch it after this, people. So yeah, man, big up Bukayo Saka for that one. Tried to find more Arsenal news, as you can see, and nothing is coming up. So yeah, that's that in relation to Bukayo Saka, people. Big up Bukayo Saka for getting his money and whatnot. You know, hopefully more sponsorships and all of those things to come, people. You know, I just want to see Saka more clinical in front of goal. You're right, Darren. It will come, man. He's 19. It's gonna happen, man. You know, we just need to allow him. Pepe did two players and right foot. I have to watch it again. I genuinely can't remember it. I never get bored of it, but it's like Martinelli and Tierney. It's one of them ones. When you do a job for me and I know your levels, I don't need to chat about you. You know, I like to have that. You know, on my channel, I'm only talking about the people who are effing about. And like, even when I do the previews, when I do the lineup, do I not say Saka, Tierney, Leno? You man know what to do in it. And then I start saying Xhaka, I want to see this. Louise, I want to see that. You know. I don't have any problem with that. I love it. Nike will probably have to. To be fair, you'd imagine Nike are all on the Jadon Sancho hype train, and he's probably their star boy at this moment in time. That's why they've allowed Raheem Sterling to move to Puma. Hey, man, I'm not commenting, but that. I had to, man. That one was funny, man. Xhaka has been on the field for 100 games. I said Saka, so I think you need to put that down, man. I think you're smoking some merch out there or some spice. Calm down, my brother. You know, I love seeing Saka grow. Man said Liverpool versus Leipzig tonight. No, my brother. It's PSG versus Barcelona without a doubt. But, you know, if you're there, tune in. I'm not doing a watch along for Liverpool. With all due respect, man. I'm not, man. Oh yeah, where Semedo lacked and then he done the little on the left hand side. Yeah, and put it home with his right foot. Yeah. That was a banger. Shout out to Noah, man. You know that was a proper description. Proper forgot about it, man. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. You're doing good for a young man. You're right. Some of the players not good enough. I appreciate that. Marshall isn't happy that it's not a Liverpool versus Leipzig watch along. Come on, man. Bro, people, you know what? No matter how good of my live streams are, there's always a couple idiots, but they're few and beyond. So what other things have I found on the net? So we've covered Saka. Should we refresh the page and see if there's anything new in relation to Arsenal and whatnot? You know, like I said previously, there's that. We're going to get on to Carl George. He's got a year left. That's probably the bulk of those rumors. But what have we got here, people? What have we got here? Move, man. Timestamp, 48 minutes, 48:05 transfers. Here we see here, people. Again, I don't know what to make of this Hakimi thing because I'll be all for it. I know a lot of people, I'm not even going to talk on this, but you see you, Rubinho, you're wronging. Copper shot for them boy there and for them sort of acts against women and whatnot. But I don't know what to make of this Hakimi stuff because obviously we need a right back. I wouldn't mind swapping Bellerin, somehow twanging them. I know a lot of you say, oh, Hakimi can't really play in a back four, this and that. I mean, you know, he's relatively young by a defender. Surely he should be able to coach a man to play in that system. I'd be all for it for 40 million, but apparently, you know, I don't know if this is legit or it's because of Inter Milan's financial problems. You know, you see Bruno Fernandes of Man United here. The relevance to that, do they not owe Man United money for Lukaku? So I'm not too sure if these rumors are coming from there. Chelsea, maybe it's because Callum Hudson-Odoi's been playing fullback. I'm not too sure where they see Reece James. Obviously, Aspilicueta can play centre half, but he's not going to be there forever. So I don't know where these rumours are coming out from. Or maybe Hakimi's leveraging this, or his advisors are leveraging it for something else, people. Now, all I care about first and foremost is, can my defender defend? You know, but to hear he's got 6 goals and provided 5 assists in 25 games, you need your fullbacks to go forward. I would be all for Hakimi. You know, I'm pretty sure all of us are crying out for a right back. Like I said, I want to see right back locked down because, you know, Chambers has had a try there historically at Arsenal, and obviously after the game against Burnley, he's thrown his hat into the ring at least to the end of the season. Cedric, you know, second half of this season has grown into that. Bellerin's had bits and pieces. Maitland-Niles is technically our player, but wants to be a centre mid, and he's not at this club. So there's 4 men fighting for that spot. We need 2. We need one right back who's levels and starting, and a competent fullback. And I see backup, and I see none of that. So minimum, can we focus on just having one? And how can we really, you know, elevate and do better things as a club if we have no stability? Since Leno has signed for this club, for all you can praise or critique about Leno, that man he ain't had a decent defense. He's been part of a back 5, you know. You've brought in Tierney, you've brought in Tierney, sorry, you've got Leno, you've got Gabriel on the left-hand side, long-term Saliba. Where's that other right back to tie into what you want to do? And then the midfield, and obviously midfield has to help defend. One has to wonder how much progression man can make without that. You know, I'm not saying Cedric isn't a good fullback. I like him, but my point is, you know, and I'm pretty sure everybody can see it, you know, this season, nobody at right back, and I hope Cedric gets that opportunity now, and it would be for me. Nobody's consistently shown us their levels. Cedric has had some dodgy games. Bellerin is Bellerin, you know. Chambers, you know, he played well against Burnley, but we've been down that bridge before. Maitland-Niles, we've been down that. Nobody's locking it down. You know, we need someone to lock it down. We need people that can play in a couple of roles, but we haven't got a master of that right back position right now. And I would love to see that change. But apparently, Arsenal and Chelsea have reportedly entered a race to sign Inter Milan fullback Hakimi this summer. The 22-year-old obviously used to play for Real Madrid in 25 games, 6 goals and 5 assists. Apparently, there's financial uncertainty surrounding Inter Milan. So you'd imagine maybe Lautaro Martinez, Hakimi, Skriniar. I'm sure they won't sell Barella, but these sort of guys are going to be linked with moves here, there, and everywhere, people. Apparently, the report claims that Arsenal are interested in the 40 million defender. Bellerin's been linked with a move away. If you could sell Bellerin for 35 and get him for 40, you've only spent 5 million on him and things like that. So who knows, man? Apparently, it was revealed last month that Inter's owners, the Suning Group, had halted operations at its Chinese clubs due to financial jeopardy, a move which plunged the future of the Italian giants into uncertainty. So we don't know its facts. It's just very much speculation. Bro, he 100%, 100%, you know, you don't 100%. I'm not going to expand on that, but a man can dream. Apparently, you know, Inter Milan are doing their thing. Apparently, as part of an ongoing capital structure and liquidity management, the business and our owners are in talks to provide a range of solutions in this respect. While Sonnen have confirmed their commitment, apologies, to financially support the club with or without additional external support, it's also sensible and prudent to look outside. With that in mind, Suning appointed key advisors in Asia to work with them to find suitable partners, be that an injection of equity capital or elsewhere. So external investors selling people to raise funds, you know, it seems that they're trying everything but to put more personal finances in it, and they recognize the problem, people. And they're in further problems as well because they're 10 million per season, including bonuses. Shirt sponsor apparently is not going to be renewed for next season. So again, the money, and on top of the COVID stuff, there's problems. So they probably will have to sell. So I don't know if that means Lukaku, Martinez, Hakimi, all of these guys that can retrieve sensible sums. I don't think they're going to do it. So who knows what happens in that regards, people. Continuing with that, people. Arsenal and Chelsea are still chasing the same players. And like you can see here, people, Santos wonder kid Kyle George, the 19-year-old, is interested in a whole host of clubs, people, from all over Europe, specifically to this article, Arsenal and Chelsea, according to reports in Italy. So an Italian paper commenting on a South American international moving to England. Football is a diverse game, but you got to read between the lines. He's got a year left on his deal and he's improving. And I'm not watching him religiously, but he's improving at Santos. So it makes sense as to why he's being linked with moves away, because, sooner or later he's going to move to Europe, and obviously he's got a year left, and we all know what's happening in that regards. We need to delve into the South American market. I'm a bit annoyed that we've had Raul Sanye, we've got Edu, and we've only got, it's easier said than done, but you've only grabbed the Martinelli. Really, you ain't done much, like, really and truly. And Martinelli weren't really Edu signing, it was all Cahigio. I'd be all for Kaya Jules. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, he can play centrally, he can play in them typical roles. He's obviously 19 and got a lot of potential. There's still a lot of development to do. I'd be all for him. He's very skillful, good technical level. Like I said, I'm not watching man religiously. And in today's day and age, everybody's a wonder kid. Everybody's the new this and that. I do believe he's got a good future in the game. And like you can see here, people, he's broken into the first team over the last year. He's made 28 appearances in the Brazilian league. He's helped his team during the Copa Libertadores. Sound like a real South American G saying it like that, innit? And doing whatnot, people. He's doing his thing. He's a good player. For me, that's enough. When I see the Brazilian players doing that celebration, that gives me Kaká and Neymar vibes. That tells me, and Martinelli did that. That tells me you're official. That tells me your level. So that's enough comfort. That celebration's enough confirmation for me, people. I'm joking. But according to the Italian publication, several of Europe's top clubs have been keeping tabs on his rise. Of course they would. Everybody wants to have a player for tomorrow. So obviously you're going to watch players. That doesn't surprise me. Everybody's watching everyone. Apparently Inter Milan are heavily interested. We've just spoken about Hakimi. Do they have money at this moment in time without sorting out their stuff? Who knows, people? Apparently they tried to get a deal done for him, people. Apparently Chelsea and Arsenal are understood to have made contact with the player's agent. And you see he's got Felipe Anderson, Neves, and Marquinhos on the book. So he's going to make a lot of peas, and he'll probably sell it to the highest bidder. But there's talk of a new deal for him. He's got a year left. So we'll never know the true validity of those rumors or if it's true. But we'll have to see, people. We will have to see. We'll have to see. 55 minutes and 55 seconds. Well, that looks a bit odd. So let's put that there. Big up to you lot. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. Make sure you're subscribed and following across all the socials. Now, we're going to get into this in a second, people. But 56-11, Joel Campbell. This is just for your timestamps for those of you that are not locked in. We've covered that, so let's remove that. But apparently, we've already known this, but apparently Arsenal and FIFA are heading to court to battle over transfer fines. As you lot know, this is to do with Joel Campbell. Arsenal and FIFA are heading for a showdown at the Court of Arbitration for Sport after the Gunners were fined for clauses placed in the players' contract when they were sold. It is a relatively small fine of 33,000 that FIFA have imposed on Arsenal, but the club have chosen to appeal and the case will be heard on the 16th of March, so next week. FIFA have ruled that sell-on clauses placed in the contracts were equal to third-party ownership as Arsenal retained influence on future transfers. How? Everyone does this. The Gunners sold Akpom to Pacor and Joao to obviously Forestone in Italy in 2018 with sell-on clauses in both their new contracts. Arsenal would receive 30% of any future transfer from Pacquiao unless it was to a British team. Then it would rise to 40%. But I'm no transfer man, but what's the difference between what City have allegedly done with Sandro, where Dortmund have to run them 40% if they sell him somewhere, like to United or whatever, or even more? So what's the difference, people? Again, lawyers and medical men and all these sort of things, you lot can tell me more. This is all over my head. I'm a football man, I don't know for the finances, but it sounds a bit fishy. It sounds like we're being done dirty, in my opinion. It is what it is in that regard. Apparently, the same clause was in Campbell's contract, but it was 20% rising to 30%, people. While the Premier League and the FA do not think that any rules have been broken, FIFA disagree. And, apparently the court will decide what's going to happen, people. Obviously, as you lot know, Campbell has not returned to those shores and he plays in Mexico. He's had quite the career. Akpom obviously joined Middlesbrough. Arsenal could get 40% of that deal. As you lot know, the fine is small, but this clearly feels that Arsenal feel aggrieved. They feel they shouldn't be made to pay for it. So again, if you genuinely feel that you shouldn't pay that, then by all means do what you need to do. We've been linked for, and also people, we've been linked with Jordan Amavi on a free transfer. As you lot can see, his former teammate Alan Hutton backs him. I remember him best at Aston Villa. He's significant. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but he's made more of a significant contribution in world football since he's gone to Marseille. In my opinion, he's, signified his sort of increased status. I think he's definitely held in higher regard, and I wouldn't mind him at all. Apparently, if he's on being backup left back for Tierney. Again, I'm not watching man religiously to know his true level. I do watch Marseille, but I've never taken him in like that, really and truly. Free transfer, I won't mind. But as you know, with Arsenal, we've made some expensive free transfers as well. And a 27-year-old, I'm trying to get a 3-4 year deal out of Arsenal minimum. Apparently, we're interested in January. Apparently, we've been trying to fight AC Milan for him. As you lot know, he's been a regular in their side. He's made over 100 appearances. If he's happy to be a squad player, why not? And apparently, his former teammate has said he's a great guy. Everybody really liked him in the squad. For me personally, I thought he was a fantastic player. He's really gone away and shown that at Marseille, which is a big club on its own, which is true. He was always a talented player. Again, very attack-minded. He could get caught out once or twice, but I think he's improved that. He's a little bit older now. He's experienced in the Premier League, so he knows what he's stepping into. It's a bit concerning there. I want defenders. I had Kolasinac. I thought he was going to be very defensive. He's actually the quite opposite, and it shows why you should never judge a book by its cover. Kolasinac does not play how he looks like. You would think this guy is just some solid defender clamping everyone. Instead, he's out there trying to be Ronaldinho. So I'm not too sure. We need to address it, but why not, man? And I guess Arsenal and French ties, I'm sure he's all for it. I'm sure he'd like another try in the Premier League. So we'll have to see what happens in that regards, people. We really will have to see. But for now, boy, it is what it is, firmly in that regards, people. Make sure you're hitting the like button, people. I appreciate every one of you that's been locked in at this moment in time. So that's a Marvi. Robbie Burton, people, as you lot know, he's about to play Spurs in the Europa League for Dynamo Zagreb, and hopefully he can be a cold-hearted killer and score against them, people, because as you lot know, when we played Victoria in the Europa League, Marcus Edwards, a footballer I once saw at Carnival, had something to say for that game. So at the end of the day, I'm happy to see Robbie Burton's move. He was offered a new deal at Arsenal. He went to Dynamo Zagreb, and it's been backed up. He's developed away from abroad. They have got a fantastic list of players they develop and still developing to this day. And yeah, it's better than playing under 23s football. Not watching his progress, no clue how much he's played for Zagreb, or if he's played really, if any. Probably he's being given this interview because he's returning to London, North London, and playing for the team that's churning. We have to see, man. We'd have to see, people. He's 21 years of age and he's doing his thing, people. He failed to break into the team. He left for 800k, probably a sell-on fee there. Apparently, he cemented his place in the first team. That this sad newspaper is saying. I don't rate this newspaper, so I'm not trying to publicize it more than ever. Let's actually see, people. I want to see how many games the man's played, people, because these are all subjective. I hope he's played He's played 8 times. Hardly set the world alight, with all due respect. So I do think this isn't me getting at him. This is me questioning the validity of the articles, because they add nonsense where it's not needed, people. Like you could see here, people. He's made 12 appearances since going to Zagreb this season. He's had to hold, again, no information. He's had to hold the bench quite frequently. He started off getting significant game time. Either way, it's better than playing Arsenal's 23s. Like you could see there, people. He said, it was a risk to move here. I felt I was ready for first team football, and I've got to an age where I needed that experience. The history of Dynamo bringing players through, top young players like Modric, has always been excellent. The way they brought through world-class midfielders attracted me. So many Croatian internationals came through here. It's a great place to be as a young player, people. And he's been capped by England at under 21s level. He was part of the team that sadly lost in the FA Youth Cup final, as you lot can see here, in 2018. So keep developing. Hopefully he can start and obviously score, people, but we'll have to see. We've also been linked with Buendia again. He's doing his thing in the Championship and scoring every day. But according to Eurosport, Arsenal will make an offer for the Norwich attacking midfielder in the summer. We've heard this before. Is there anything new? He's got 10 goals and 10 assists in 29 apps. We know he's a good player. We know he's a quality player. But again, where's the substance? his end. So that's probably just an article for the sake of it. There's no substance in that regard. It's not said how, when, or exactly what we're going to do in that regards. So moving that away, people, we're getting closer and closer to the end of what I wanted to talk about. So away from that as well, folks, Socrates, I was gonna wait to use this tomorrow for my live stream for the Arsenal game, but Socrates is always gonna thingy. Socrates is always gonna what's the word? Socrates is always going to, I don't know, man. I don't even know. I've had a brain fart. Socrates is always going to be the main talking point. Sorry, people. That's what I meant to. I had a small brain fart, as you lot could see here, man. Moving away from that. Trust me. But anyways, people. Socrates has told Arsenal secrets. Apologies, people, for them brain farts. It's getting long. It's getting a long stream. I actually need to finish this movie. As you lot know, Bruma, who actually knows Smith Rowe through their time at Leipzig, has been speaking. Moving down, let's see what he's actually said, people. As you lot know, Pedro Martins, the man who orchestrated the victory over us, people, is still in charge and whatnot. But I'm trying to find what Bruma's actually said, people, because where's the secrets, broski? Here it is. He told us some secrets, but I won't tell you about any of them. It's between us and Socrates. Of course, he knows Arsenal's locker room better than anyone. He's a player with a lot of experience. He's played for Milan, Dortmund, and Arsenal, who are all great clubs. So Socrates is a very good voice. He's been helping a lot in the locker room. He's been helping the team a lot with his experience. We are really pleased to have him, and I'm sure he's going to be a big help on Thursday. We know what he's about. We know he's a brute. We know he struggles on the ball. We know he struggles when he's pulled out into wide areas, people. He's gonna be in problems. Bro, there's a couple players I like at Porto. I like that Sergio guy. But moving away from that, and big up Pepe for that performance yesterday, people. Moving away from that, it's natural that Arsenal talk about revenge, but every game has its history and everyone is feeling good. But this one is our team. Arsenal obviously have such a great team with good quality, so we know it's not going to be the same as last year, but anything is possible. It is true. Absolutely true. You know, this isn't anything of substance, people, really and truly. You know, it's a bit clickbaity from goal.com, really and truly. Let's see if this is better, by Mr. James Westwood. Socrates has opened up on his difficult Arsenal spell and defends Xhaka after his Burnley error. Let's see what's going on. He's opened it up. He made 69 appearances across 2.5 years for us. He was marginalized by Mikel Arteta and actually made to play right back. Moving away from that, you know, and you're right. Respect to Socrates. He was a true professional. But yeah, Socrates was, people. It was difficult because I didn't have the chance to play because I wasn't included in the squad list. I had some offers to leave in the summer, but it didn't happen in the end. And I accepted that I'd be outside the list. I did my training and I gave my best for the team. I was professional to the end. And that's something that I can echo. He obviously did train well, even kept ticking over, playing 23 minutes. You know, he went on to say, it was also difficult because in all my career I've played regularly. I've played almost 70 games for Arsenal in 2 years. But when you are in a team, you have to put the team and yourself after. I accepted this. I was professional and I didn't complain to anyone. You know, speaking about him, you know, and his relationship with Mikel Arteta, he said, I don't have to prove to Arteta or anyone else there. It was Arteta's decision and the club's decision, and I accepted it. I had good memories at Arsenal. I reached the Europa League final, won 2 trophies, the FA Cup and Community Shield. They're a club which gave me the chance to play in the best league in the world. Fair play. He's praised Granit Xhaka, and it showed, you know, I like people who defend their friends, and I don't think he's wrong with what he's saying about Xhaka, but it is what it is. He said, Granit is one of the best teammates I've had the pleasure of working with. He's a very important player for Arsenal, and I believe he's a good player who can be a leader in the team. When you make one mistake, everyone will go against you. But I know Granit's character. Before the Burnley game, he played 5 or 6 games where he was probably the best in the team. He definitely had a case to say that, but he's made 2 mistakes in 2 games. And with Xhaka, you know, it's coming. I do agree that there's always going to be wolves and stuff ready to attack him, and people with knives ready to stab Xhaka in the back when those mistakes happen, you know, but there's no smoke without fire. Xhaka's got those things in there. He said, I think he's one of Arsenal's best players and certainly one of the best midfielders that I've played with. I don't know what midfielders you've played with, but again, the bar must be low. I don't think he's one of Arsenal's best players. I think he's central to the system in what Arteta allegedly wants to do. But do I think Xhaka is a better player than Leno, than Aubameyang, than Bukayo Saka, than Martinelli, than Tierney? No. Do I even think he's more vital than David Luiz right now? Probably. That one there is probably overdoing it, but I think you're overdoing it. But nice to see you're back in your mate, you're back in your brethren. Simple as that. So with that, that's that, people. What's on Arsenal.com? Apologies, people. What's on Arsenal.com? Okay, Arteta's doubling down. You see, the same way he said we learned our mistake. We've learned our mistakes a year ago, people. We're gonna have to see, aren't we here? Because I'm making sure that this is something that is timestamped. Arteta's comments. Make sure that they're 30, Arteta, because what has he said now? On top of obviously saying that we're more equipped than a year ago. We've learned our lessons better yet from Olympiacos. He said we're a better team now than last year's types. If we go on the last 180 minutes of football, I'm not too sure. Against Benfica, I'm not sure. He said, when asked people, he said, obviously it was a tough one to swallow after everything we did in the 2 games to lose the way we did and with the late chance Oba had, but we moved on. Arteta, you're lying, because we took our 81 minutes in the first leg to win. We then took forever to score in the second leg where Aubameyang scored and did miss a chance, but individual errors contributed to us conceding so quickly. We didn't do the job. There's parallels between last year and the Benfica games. The only difference is that we won. So I think you're looking at it with rose tints. And I don't like to see, it was really cruel, but football is cruel. Life is cruel. Like I said yesterday, life is cruel when you don't take care of business. If you don't look after your finances, if you spend ridiculous money and things, bearing in mind you've got a house and you need food, in your belly, when that unexpected bill or that unexpected rise in bills or that financial difficulty or that unexpected charge happens and you're not able to deal with it, it's because you weren't saving your money. Now you can say it is cruel, but you wasn't doing stuff. So using that example, there is, we did not do everything across the initial 180 minutes of football plus extra time. So it is cruel, but, we can't stand in the rain and cry that we're wet. There's no sense in that. Get an umbrella and put on a jacket. We didn't do that. He said, after everything we did, and once again, after everything we did in the 2 games to lose the way we did and with the late chance Oba had, but we move on. We have some feelings towards that team. And we want to put it right in the next round. Well, if you want revenge, go out there and get it. He said, I think we're a better team than we were last year. Looking back at the 2 games that we played and the way we are playing now, I think we've come a long way. Not too sure on that. They have some different players as well, but a very similar structure to last year. They've been playing really well. They played in the Champions League, knocked out of the Champions League. They played against City in 2 really good games as well. It will be a really tough opponent. Now we have another opportunity. It's the beauty of this game. It's a completely different context, but the reality is the same. And we have to beat them twice to go through in the competition. We have to be better than them, So if we know the task, the players need to go and follow through with it and make sure they're doing what they have to do, people. He said a lot of stuff here, and we're going to go through all of them. We're not sparing any expense, people. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Man saying the rain analogy is perfect for today. It is, it already is, man. I don't know, people, man. There's no balance, D. Certain people are too harsh on them, I feel, and blame them for everything when sometimes it's not relevant. Sometimes people, the bar is low. There's too much allegiances to players. There's too much Xhaka FC, Arteta FC, this and that. Bro, it's an Arsenal thing. It's crazy. Already what they said, man. So it is what it is in that regards, man. So let's see. He said, emotionally, we have to be we have to be calmer and more secure. That's also fact. Seeing what he said there, people, since 2017, we have conceded the most penalties in the Premier League, made the most errors leading to a goal, and been shown the most red cards. So again, if it didn't happen until, we can only attribute on what, on one hand, Arteta is inheriting a mess. On the other hand, I would love to see the numbers since Arteta's taken over, because we're problems. He said, what can be done to stop these mistakes? He said, it's very difficult because a lot is expected in the situation of a football match, but then emotionally, we have to be much more calmer and secure. We have to manage the games much better in certain situations, and that comes with maturity, and that comes from learning, bro. These people are not learning. We're taking the same test and still it's like we're taking the same test where we've been given the answer chances, and we're still managing to fail it, and we're getting less and less marks than the previous round. So every time you do that, hopefully you learn and it doesn't happen again to the same player, but then something happens to a different one. I've spoken on this. If it's not Xhaka, it's going to be Bellerin. If it's not Bellerin, it's David Luiz, it's Cedric, it's one of the, it's occasionally Tierney or Saka. We've got errors in this team, and we've got players that are error-prodding people. It's crazy. James Redmond, Liverpool fan, James Redmond. Anyways, people, he said the positive thing is that I think it's in our control. Of course it is. It's 0-0 and there's 180 minutes. Same way this week, you're playing against Olympiacos, you're playing against Spurs. It's all down to you lot. If you lot stand up to be counted, it's crazy. It's not something that the opponents are doing and we can't control it. I think it's easier to fix, but we have to fix it very quickly because the margins are not so small and you're close to losing points all the time. Bro, you look... Listen, we lose in the exact same way 9 times out of 10. It's self-destruct button. That can be said, at any point this season. So I said all of this last live stream. Please go and check yesterday's one. I'm kind of tired of speaking about the same things. He said, when speaking about them, he said, I'll always do that as long as we all the time follow our principles and rules that we have. It's the way we play and the way and when we decide to play and not to play, pardon me, the type of football we play with the right distances and the right feet. Obviously, playing out from the back, you're going to have calamitous moments. But I don't personally feel Xhaka and Leno, whether you want to attribute to Leno or Xhaka, I don't feel it's because of playing out from the back. People are making stupid decisions. Leno probably shouldn't have played it to Xhaka. Xhaka damn well shouldn't ask for the ball there. And like I said, the best midfielders do things in less touches. Nonchalant, baggy first touch, nonchalant swipe with your right foot, assisted wood. Simple as that. Pause. So crazy as that. So yeah, if Arteta's saying all the right things, but bro, on one hand, I think Arteta's hard done by because it's like he's telling these players everything. He's telling them why they shouldn't put their hands in a fire. The players are sitting there and going, yeah, you're right. It's hot. I could lose my finger. I could do this. And the minute he says, all right, cool, you know what to do, they're just sticking their hand in the fire. So I feel sorry for him. But at the same part, it has to come to the manager. It's down to you to arrest people. When speaking about Odegaard, people, he said, I'm really happy with him. I think he settled really, really quickly into the team and with what we demand from the players. This is true. He said his attitude, his behavior and his work rate has been phenomenal. He's had better moments than others to give us the special qualities he has. But overall, I'm happy with him. For me, I need to see a bit more from Odegaard. I've already said it. I'm going to be a lot more harsher on Odegaard purely because we spent 2.5 million on a loan fee. We knew the dynamics of bringing in a man mid-Jan. He knew the dynamics of joining us, and it's a relationship of mutual benefit. We need a creative man, some creativity in the middle. You need a platform to show Real Madrid or anyone else why he should play. I don't think he's grabbed all his opportunities, especially in the big games he started recently. I don't think he's locked it down. I think the game passed him by against Burnley. And like I say, Odegaard's got the technical quality, but the bar is low. Arsenal used to have technical footballers in abundance. That shouldn't even be praised. If you want to play for Arsenal, you should have technical level. But the biggest and worst praise I can give Odegaard is, in a good way, he looks like an Arsenal player. And once again, not for the first time, I'll say this again, in a bad way, he looks like an Arsenal player. He looks like he's always been part of this sort of thing. So I do think he needs to pull his finger out a bit and do a bit more. But I think the players need to find him as well. What else is there, people? We've spoken about that. Let's see what Partey is saying. Partey has said it was a very difficult moment to get used to how the team plays, and I think the injuries are part of the adaptation. So maybe, again, this is what my thing has been in terms of what we're doing with him, how we're managing our workload, how we're using him in training, and we're managing his games week in, week out and whatnot. There's got to be something we're doing wrong. The man's never injured at Atletico. Lo and behold, he can't stay fit here. So like you see it here, the injuries are part of adaptation. Now, some of it might be down to him, but some of it for me is down to what we're doing with man in the week and how, does he need to take part in full training or does he need to do his own little thing? Does he start off the week doing heavier sort of cycles in training and then wind down, do more recovery as we've got a game? I don't know. That's all things above my head, but I just know there's got to be something. Tierney, Partey, barely ever injured at Celtic within reason, and Atletico respectively, cannot stay fit here. So yeah, people, he said, I think players have their own opinion, but the people, sorry, have their own opinion, but it depends on me and how I adapt to that situation that I'm in. It's part of the game. You never know when you get injured. I do all my work. I try to make sure I'm fit to play any game. I had a few games against United and Wolves where I was 100% and I was able to show what I can do. Due to less games and less training, I've been working and have to keep trying to get back to that level of performance. I think this is just a start. I'm starting to get used to how my mates play, how the Premier League goes, and with time, everything will be good. I will do my best and I will do my work to try to make sure I'll be at my best. Partey, I love you as a footballer, man. You know, take your time, get back to full fitness, do your thing. I know you know what to do at this football club. Away from that, though, let's see if we can circle back on anything missed. If there's anything we've missed. We've already mentioned that he thinks he's a better team. We know it's a big week for us people. He said we have a massive week with the next 4 games that we have in a short period. We have to manage the squad, but obviously the main game is tomorrow and we have to focus on that. Tomorrow's game is going to help us for the weekend. It's going to help us for next week. We have to focus on tomorrow. And again, that's about building momentum on whether the Europa League is the best route back into the Champions League, in which I believe it is, because you have bottled the league. There's a lot to do in both competitions. We have to go very far to get into the Champions League via the Europa League. With the amount of games you have to win, it's the same in the Premier League. The points that we've lost in 3 away games against Wolves, Villa and Burnley sums up our season a little bit. Yeah, it does. Cheap goals. If it's not cheap goals, it's early goals. Pressing the self-destruct button and focusing on periods where, first 20 against Burnley, where you was all on them. Villa, you had periods where you was all on top of them. Wolves, people were saying best 20 minutes in the league until what happened with Luis. It's about the 90 game period, and red cards, all of these things happen, rightly or wrongly. We can't react to different situations. He said we should have got much more from those games and we would have been in a different position. Shoulda, woulda, could have, not facts. If I was faster, stronger, I might be a professional footballer. Who knows, people? But the facts are we didn't do it. But our reality is that at the end, we don't find a way to win. We have to learn how to win and be consistent in winning every 3 days. When you produce those performances, it's the biggest margin that we have to improve. On whether he's still a Courage is playing out from the back, yes, I'm not going to get into that. On how he feels mentally facing Olympiacos, he said, well, obviously we have 2 games to look at, everything that happened in those 2 games and the disappointment that we had to digest. It took some time to do that because it was a hard one, and we had a lot of faith and enthusiasm in the competition and we were knocked out. And now we have another opportunity. It's the beauty of this game. It's a completely different context, but the reality is the same, that we have to beat them twice to go through in the competition and we have to be better than them. It's fact. I wouldn't make Arsenal favourites. And he said on how much of a blow it would be to not be in Europe next season. He said, I don't want to think that way at all. I'm always very positive. I think there's still a lot to play for. And what we need is to put 4 or 5 wins in a row. Bro, facts. If we're able to do that, then things are going to look very different in 2 or 3 weeks' time. But we've been saying these ifs and buts continuously. It's so easy to say ifs and buts. It's easy to rationalize this. Talking is cheap. That's why everybody's got that currency. Doing is expensive. That's why certain players, when it comes to talking at Arsenal Football Club, only a few man got the money in their banks in that regard. If it's lip service, every Arsenal player can buy some Henny. If it's actually backing up your words, then Saka has to buy rounds for everybody and Tierney and that, or no one is getting nothing, people. So we'll have to see, people, in that regard. He also said, if we don't, obviously we don't have the chance because when we have had the opportunity to do that, we haven't done it consistently enough. So it's completely down to us. I want to think that there's still a lot to play for, and we have to be with that mindset because it's not impossible to achieve anything. And that's what I said yesterday. No matter how unrealistic it looks of you winning Europa League and these things, I don't want to hear writing off leagues, because you should have the mentality until May comes that you should, because you can, just because we might catch L's this season, if you can show me that you can put consistent form together and do several things, you can set up a little bit of building blocks and points that can be worked upon later for next season and beyond. We'll have to see, people. We'll have to see. Jay, I really respect that, man. There's a lot that there's a lot of fat you're gonna have to chew through, man. Lewis is saying these analogies are spot on, bro. Love my guy. Sometimes they're a bit weird, but seems that they're all right today. On if the players should scream less. brother, I'm leaving that. And I was quite disappointed in Ian Wright in what he did with Lacazette personally. On Smith Rowe's fitness, he said, yes, he's close to returning. He's going to have a full session today to see if he can be involved in tomorrow's game. After training, we'll know exactly where we are with him. So for me, I'm pretty sure Odegaard would start in that 10 role. I'd rather go with Lacazette. On the defeat against Olympiacos last year, we already know it drained us emotionally. He's described it as a roller coaster. Football's a game of emotions, but when you remove your emotions, you deserve to lose because you didn't have everything. We have a habit of making errors in key moments, and he said it's very difficult because a lot is expected in the situation of a football match, but then emotionally you have to be much more calm and much more secure. You have to manage games much better in certain situations and come out with maturity, and that comes from learning. A lot of these players, but I'm sorry, Arteta, I agree with you, but some of these players, it's not a learning thing. If Saka loses the ball and then it relays in a goal, I could say it's a learning thing because he's a young man. Some of these men are old in footballing terms because of their age, experience because they've played in top leagues and made significant appearances in such, played for top teams, played for their country. There's certain self-discovery and self-learning. It does feel a bit like you're teaching a bunch of children. And when you look at the squad, yeah, we've got a lot of young players, but you're relying 9 times out of 10 on these experienced ones. And right now, Cedric's been playing well, but to paint a point of recent memory, Ceballos, Cedric, Xhaka, David Luiz, even El Nene, of recent, they've all contributed to conceding cheap goals. Leno, arguably, if you want to say he had a hand to play in the goal, these are experienced players doing this, so I don't feel in holding their hands, people. I don't really rate this, but it is what it is. He's bigged up Socrates. We know he's a good guy and a popular guy, and we'll be wishing him all the best. Not too well, but yeah. He said on this week could define our season. We are talking about it every week. Obviously, it's a massive week for us. We have 4 very important games coming up. We need to win them all. That's our reality, and this is how we're going to approach it. Simple as that. Please don't spam. Please don't spam. Moderators, please make sure you're reining that in because, yeah, man, it's just stupidness. Moving away from that, on having the opportunity to prove critics wrong, I think the players have to focus on performing as good as possible and try to do the best on the pitch. That criticism, with where it's coming from, with which intentions, is something they must not pay attention to because they cannot control. For me, on YouTube, I've got the best of intentions for football. So, yeah, but there are people with sinister motives. The best to do is just shut it all out and focus on football. He said the better we do individually and the better we do collectively, things are going to work better. And that's the responsibility they have all the time when they jump on the pitch. People tell me if I'm lying. All of these things that you're saying, that's being said, have I not been saying it all week and in general and you look the same? This is what I mean by, as much as I criticize Arteta, he's saying walk on. So he's not telling the players anything different, and they've got to be able to, you can give a man water, but only you can drink. And that's where we're at, this people, on whether he thinks about our defeats or victories more. I want to hear defeats because if you're focusing on the victories, it's telling me that you don't want to improve. As a team, I always think, as a manager, you should always look for aspects you're underperforming in because there's always improvement. When you're overperforming, there's a worry. When you're just doing that, there's a worry. You always want to be underperforming across certain metrics, no matter how good your team is. You always want to be underperforming because there's immediate results. He said you learn a lot from defeats, and obviously what victories and trophies bring joy, excitement, and smiles to everyone that is involved in the football club. And this is why we're sitting here, just to make things better and make things happy. When you do that, the satisfaction is really big. And on the opposite side, when you fail and lose and make people sad, obviously internally and emotionally it hurts. What I would like to see from Arteta, I know it gets to you, but it's like these players don't get tired of losing, don't get tired of the criticism, and they don't use it to channel them. Because if they did, if they channeled that, the hurt and all of these things that's been a case for many years, then that would pull them through. So when you're going into moments like this, when you're going into previous moments where we've had big games, you're thinking of, okay, cool, it might be what Arteta, I might not be on what Arteta's wanting me to do, but that I don't want to feel regret. I want to be on the right side of history, and too often than not, it's not okay. That's not the case, man. We've been here before, Zach, 100%, man. Arteta, Willian, based on the last game, deserves to play. But I mean, come on now, Pepe's deserved to play and been dropped. Big up yourself, my guy, especially because you're a fellow yard man. Would I keep Odegaard on a permanent basis? If it's just on technical ability and who he is, then yes. Based on what I've seen at Arsenal, I don't think I've seen enough to justify going for him. I'd probably right now, if we had to do it today, I'm looking at another loan spell for the year. I haven't seen enough based on what I've seen, to say, yo, this guy permanent, let's get it done, especially at a time where allegedly we're struggling with finances. So I'm not too sure. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. There's 214 likes, and there's 291 of you people. So it is what it is in that regards. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. What are you guys saying? Wait, it's gonna get long, man. It's gonna get long if you don't. It's gonna get very long if we don't. Very long if we don't. I'd bring Omri in as a coach, but the thing with Omri, it could work, but if you remember, sometimes it does make people feel uncomfortable. That's why typically you see when a big player leaves, it's not that the other team is going to play better, but other players start coming out of their shells and things. And you probably see that to a degree with Juventus when Ronaldo leaves, Messi when he leaves Barcelona. We saw it at Arsenal to a slightly less degree with Omri, and Omri's even said it himself. So I wouldn't be against Omri. You know, I need someone that can shake things up and whatnot, but there's also the flip side of that, and that kind of goes to Vieira as well. On that note, though, people, we've been here for 90 minutes. It's exactly 1 o'clock. I've got to go head over to James Redmond's show. Gonna go toilet first. I'm gonna be back later for a Champions League watch alongside. Appreciate if you're all there. If you're not there, please do me a favor and hit the like button because it drives up the engagement. Please make sure you've liked, commented, and subscribed already. Make sure you're following me across my socials from Clubhouse to Instagram to Twitter and etc. Deluded Guna 04. And all of those sort of things there, people. Make sure you're checking out the Deluded podcast. Latest episode dropped yesterday on Tuesday. My next episode will be on Friday. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple. So yeah, man, that's enough of the cheeky plugs. I hope you all have a great day. It's been 90 minutes. I'll be back again. On that note, though, people, DG, I'm out. One love to all the members, them. One love to all the Twitch gang. I respect everybody. I'm out.